And welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre at the University of Loughborough, where it's finals day in week one of the UK Pro League. We've had all sorts of excitement over the course of the weekend. Here's a little refresher as to what's occurred so far today. We began with the fifth place playoff in the men's singles. Jack Findle-Hawkins up against George Houghton. Another really impressive performance by the Queen's unofficial favourite player. That's because he presented flowers to her when he was 5 years of age. He came through 7-6, 6-1. Then Alicia Barnett and Freya Christie produced another epic. They always seem to when they come up against each other, and this time Freya gained revenge for losing earlier in the week, winning in a very tight tie-break. And a short time ago, in the third place playoff in the men's singles, Anton Matusevic came through in straight sets against a disappointed Dan Cox. And so to the first of the finals. It's the women's singles final. It features Emily Appleton and Beth Gray. And after Beth's victory in a fantastic semi-final yesterday, I had a word with her with regards to her thoughts looking forward to the women's finale. Beth, a long week has led to the final. How much have you enjoyed the past few days?
Yeah, it's been great fun. I've had some real thrillers out there, a lot of match tie breaks. Yeah, it's been great. I'm really glad to be in the final and try and get my revenge tomorrow against Emily.
And in terms of your game, what has pleased you most? What would you like to improve come the final match?
I think my competitiveness really has really impressed me. I've sort of dug in deep in every match, even when I haven't really been executing as well as I would like to. So hopefully I can execute some more shots tomorrow.
It's been such a difficult time for everybody, of course, in all walks of life. How big a boost has this week in particular been for your own game, your own development?
Yeah, really much so. It's been something to look forward to, which has been the main thing. So I've been training sort of week in, week out at the NTC. So this is like a great sort of goal to have in mind whilst I've been training. So it's great to finally be here.
And you say you want revenge. Obviously, you lost to Emily in the pool match. What have you learnt from that might help you in the final?
So the main thing I think is looking after my serve a bit better. She was obviously serving really well, which is putting a lot of pressure on my serve. So when I go out tomorrow, I'm just going to have a really big focus on holding my service games and try and take a few chances on her serve.
And you've had your boyfriend here this week looking after all your needs, the chocolate, whether you win or lose. How comforting is that, and is it something that you'll look to continue to do?
Yeah, it's great. Ed's travelled with me a lot, so we're really used to having each other sort of on the sidelines, so it's great. He knows my game really well, so he knows what to sort of say during the match to help egg me on. Yeah, and I think in the next few months he'll travel with me a bit more.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how you perform. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, that was Beth last night, delighted with her performance, and quite rightly so. And if I look over my shoulder, the gap in the curtain should open a little further, and Beth will emerge onto the court for this match. She's 25 years of age, from Liverpool. She's the British number 20 and did produce a magnificent display to squeeze past Alicia Barnett in that thrilling semi-final yesterday. A chance now to gain revenge for what was a pretty one-sided defeat, it has to be said, at the hands of Emily Appleton. And I mentioned her boyfriend Ed in the interview, Ed Taylor, who's been by her side for 5 years and will be providing the chocolate for her whether she wins or loses this match. Although she was being very healthy when on that bike last night, just munching on bananas, there was no sign of any chocolate. What about her opponent in the final? Well, it is Emily Appleton, who's been in absolutely fantastic form throughout the week. Unstoppable up to now, at least. 21 years of age, from Woking, ranked 693. Very aggressive with a huge serve that Beth touched upon, and forehand. She won all her group matches without dropping a set, and then came through a very tight semi-final against Freya Christie yesterday. Her coach is David Collins. And we can now hear what she has to say, because she's been chatting with Gigi.
Congratulations, Emily. You're into the week one final, 6 wins from 6. How happy have you been with how everything's gone?
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to get 6 out of 6. It's a good achievement and just proud of the way I've been performing. So hopefully I can do the same in the final.
How has the body held up? Because this is 7 matches in 7 days for the players, and for yourself, you hadn't played competitively since November last year.
Yeah, no, I actually expected to be a bit sorer than I am, but after the marathon semi-final, I might be a bit sore for the final.
Do you think that semi-final will stand you in good stead because it's the first time you dropped a set all week?
Yeah, for sure. I think Freya tested me a lot, so it was probably really good preparation for the final.
With everything that's still going on in the world, what kind of an opportunity is this that you're able to compete? We mentioned the 7 matches in 7 days, and also, probably most importantly, earn money.
It's an amazing opportunity for us all, I think, because without this, I don't think we'd be able to compete much at all. So to be able to play so many matches in 1 week is incredible, and also the opportunity to earn money really helps us out.
Now, we know you guys are all friends, you know each other very well, but what is your history like on court with Beth Gray?
I've played her quite a few times, all seems to be at the UK Pro League, and I only played her a couple of days ago, so yeah, it would be nice to play her again, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Will you do anything differently ahead of the final, or are you a creature of habit and everything has to stay the same?
No, I'll keep everything the same for one more day.
Good luck in the final.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, she's certainly got no reason to change anything because up to now, Gigi, her progression has been perfect.
Certainly has. She hadn't dropped a set through the group stages. It was just that one set in the semi-final. She's been hitting the ball so cleanly, keeping in mind that this is her first tournament since a tournament in Estonia at the back end of last year. I know that's the same story for so many of these places. Now she splits her time in terms of where she trains. A lot of it spent at St George's Hill, where we had the British tournaments last summer. But she is so relaxed at the moment, just observing her off court with her coach and the laughter that they have among them, seeing her on court and how she's striking the ball, and she has that important group stage win over Beth Gray.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that because 4 and love on paper is pretty emphatic. Beth said to me in that interview that she's learned from that, she'll be able to turn things around, but how difficult a task is it going to be for her?
It's going to be a difficult one. They also played in the UK Pro Series last summer, and again, Emily Appleton came out on top. They're both big, clean strikers of the ball. It's just that Appleton has been steadier. So as far as Beth is concerned, she has to come out firing. She cannot start slowly in this contest, especially with what took place in the group stage. She took just 4 games. The second set, she was bageled 6-love, so very important for Beth Gray. If she can play anywhere near the standard that she did against Alicia Barnett said that's the best she's ever seen Beth Gray play. If she can start like that, this should be a very interesting final.
Yeah, of course, that was such a tough match, though. You need stamina in this sort of format. Do you sense that that might prove to be a significant factor as well?
Well, what's coming through from the players is the fatigue, how their bodies are feeling. They've all said it to us. This is a tough ask. This is 7 matches in 7 days. You add to that the nerves because this is a final. They're playing, I think the winner will get 18 points, and then the money they will earn, and it's all going towards the finals. It could quite possibly, but they'll be looking at the adrenaline to try and see them through. They're both injury-free. They say they're feeling fine. And actually, Emily Appleton said that the deciding tiebreak she played in her semi-final has probably stood her in a good place ahead of this final.
Well, you know my final question. It's your least favourite one.
It's the fact that you asked this question when we're very close to the boyfriend of one of the players. So I would feel bad if I went against it, but I am going to go against it. I am going to go with Emily Appleton. She's been playing so well. I think in future we'll ask this question away from one of the camps. But I'm going to go with Appleton. She's looking very relaxed and she's just been so consistent in her play.
OK, I'm glad that your mask is slipping down more than mine for the first time this weekend. Gigi's going to head up to the commentary box, and that's where we find Jenny Drummond.
Well, welcome along to the final day's play of the UK Pro League 2021. And it is, of course, time for the women's final, 4th match of the day between Beth Gray and Emily Appleton. A lot riding on this final, of course. The winner will receive £3,750 plus their £500 appearance fee and 18 points towards Classic Week. The runner-up will receive £3,000 plus their £500 appearance fee and 15 points. And there is Beth Gray, 25 years old, from Liverpool. The only lefty in the ladies' draw this week. She's had a pretty successful week indeed. Although the interesting thing is she did lose to Emily Appleton earlier on in the week in the group stages. Appleton won that encounter 6-4, 6-love in what was one of her best matches of the week. Gray playing sensational tennis yesterday against Alicia Barnett, some of the best tennis she's played to date, to come through that match in a tough 3-set battle. And then Emily Appleton, well, she is the woman to beat, that's for sure. The only player to be undefeated this week so far across men's and women's. 21 years old from Woking. And sorry, David Collins alongside her in the chair. And alongside me, Jenny Drummond in the commentary box.
End of warm-up.
Is Gigi Salmon, who has bolted it over. She is here, there and everywhere in the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre this afternoon.
And I think I've made it clear to Marcus that in future
Emily
predictions
Appleton
do not
to the right
happen
of the chair,
standing
won the
next to the
toss and
boyfriend
chose to receive.
of one of the players in the final. I almost felt myself whispering because I have gone with Emily Appleton just because of the form she's shown. But I felt quite bad with Ed, the boyfriend we can see there. He was kind of standing behind the bench. So
he did that to me with Freya Christie against Lucy Barnett.
He does it,
Freya's mum was just standing next to me.
He asked me about Pythagoras' theorem earlier.
Oh, for goodness sake.
He asked me about walking on your hands earlier in the week. I think I've come out on top here. But really, really looking forward to this one. I mean, the standard of tennis from Beth Gray in that semi-final was astonishing. And Emily Appleton has just had the consistency through the week to lead both of these players to this point.
Absolutely has. Appleton dropping the only set so far yesterday in her semi-final match.
First set
against Freya Christie. But she got the job done. She's here in the final today. And what a final it's set to be.
love.
Well, that's stating your intent early on.
That's exactly how she started the match yesterday in her semi-final. Won the opening set 6-love against Alicia Barnett. Seeing the ball like a football.
See some big ball striking this afternoon. A reminder of that 6-4, 6-love group win for Appleton, and they also met last year in the summer at St George's Hill, where Appleton is based for part of the time for her training, and again Appleton came out on top. But if Gray can keep up the standard that she's been showing, it's going to be a very interesting final.
Let's first serve. Love.
It was interesting watching that VT with Gray saying that she had to serve well in this match against Appleton, because you know you're going to get some big deliveries from Appleton. Her bread and butter is the big serve, big forehand, and it's so easy to put your opponent under pressure when you have a big serve.
Game Gray.
What a perfect start to the final for Beth Gray.
First game.
All to love. A little nod from boyfriend Ed, who was mixing up the energy drinks just before she started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw them doing some drills as well, some hand-eye coordination. It's a supportive boyfriend right there.
Very supportive boyfriend. And David Collins, the coach of Emily Appleton, they were watching funny YouTube videos just before, which was, I thought, really nice. You could just hear this laughter, and it was really nice. Just that's how you want your player to be, really focused, but at the same time relaxed.
Well, isn't it funny? We know how players differ. Someone like Ash Barty, before she won her first Grand Slam title at Roland Garros, she was playing cricket in the changing room with her team. It's just what works for you as a player, what gets you relaxed and in a good headspace.
Emily Appleton to serve. 15 love.
21 years of age, Emily Appleton, a world ranking of 693, a career high ranking of 501. Breath Gray, the elder at 25 years of age.
All.
You can expect a few errors from the Appleton game because she does take risks. She does flatten out the ball, likes to step in, whereas Gray is a bit more of a counter-puncher.
Thirty 15.
Studied at the School of Performing Arts in Liverpool, Beth Gray. Defended by Gray to
30 all.
eventually draw the error, because there were some big blows coming off the forehand side.
They really were. Beth Gray is such a hustler at the back of the court. She's so quick. I've seen her do her gymnastics this week. She's been doing the splits on the court. But she will be chasing down every single ball, just making her opponent play one more, forcing the error from Appleton.
That's a handy serve to have for
40 30.
Emily Appleton. Clean through the group stages, not a set dropped. Just that one set dropped. Semi-final against Freya Christie, dropping the first set. Both players are on the board in the final. Know each other very well, but the same can be said for all the players that are competing in the UK Pro League, and it's produced some fascinating contests over the past 7 days.
It really has. We've seen lots of different results and so many matches, 7 matches for most of these players in 7 days. It's been physically and mentally challenging, but also extremely fulfilling too for so many of them.
Freya Christie, who finished third, said she's going to have a couple of days with her feet up on the sofa.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
I might do too.
That sounds really nice. My school's going back tomorrow, might too.
First serve, yeah. Next.
I think Beth Gray thought that was a clean winner, but just clipping the net.
$30 love.
You have to watch that slice of Appleton's. It didn't come off there, but it's slightly devilish. She gets a lot of bite on it. And on these courts, it just stays low.
40 love.
He had to drop a point on serve, Beth Gray. Very aggressive stance of the second
40,
serve from
15.
Appleton.
And she's super aggressive. Really loves to step in. And that's where Gray said before the match that she needs to serve well, because as soon as the second serve delivery comes in, she knows that Appleton will be ready and waiting.
And
Game,
well finished
Gray.
off. Clean as you like from Beth Gray. Two
leads
service
2
games,
games to
2
1.
service holds, 1 point drop, 2-1 on serve in favour of Beth Gray in this year's final. Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre, the first of our finals. Beth Gray taking on Emily Appleton. Bit of a nosebleed there for Emily Appleton.
She's apologising.
Apologise.
She's a really nice girl.
It's not a lot you can do with nosebleeds. It's sort of pinching the bridge of your nose or putting the head back or
It's a bit of an inconvenience for her,
letting
isn't it?
letting it run its course.
So David Collins next to her. He logs every single point in that notebook.
I think he's put nosebleed. 3 games in. A slight inconvenience. But it is a tough one. It's something they don't usually encounter. You
No.
have your injury timeouts, there's sickness, there's etc. But nosebleed, it's a very tricky one to judge. It's difficult to put a time limit. Or I will have an injury timeout and a nosebleed, because it doesn't often work like that.
And what if it restarts?
Ah, yes.
There's no blood replacement in tennis.
That would be a bridge to cross. So just waiting to see if it will run its course. You can see the head slightly tilted back, but as you say, it's the final. It's not what you need at this stage, but still looking quite relaxed. David Collins doesn't look too concerned.
No, he's a really nice guy. It's super chilled.
And that was definitely coming across with the, as I say, with the sort of pre-match build-up between the two. It was really lovely. She was so relaxed.
I had a chat with him actually yesterday after her semi-final, and he said she was a bit frustrated because she hadn't played the tennis that she wanted to. She did drop her first set of the tournament. I think that was maybe in comparison to some of the tennis that she had been playing, particularly her previous match against Beth Gray. I commentated on that match, and she was so solid, barely missed a ball, and there was, to be fair to Beth, there was nothing she could do, because Appleton was seeing it so big. For 2 consecutive matches, Appleton didn't face a break point.
Yeah, she played so well, but she also added that it was probably not a bad thing to have dropped that set to Freya Christie. Gave her a bit of a fight, a bit of a challenge ahead of the final.
Yeah, it's easy to get complacent, isn't it? And coming into this, Appleton is the person to beat. The pressure on paper
Yeah.
is on her. And Beth Gray can take so much confidence from her performance last night against Alicia Barnett.
Now doing her best just to keep warm. Again, we say with the nosebleed, it's so tricky. You cannot put a time limit. You know, an injury timeout, you can say, oh, this is the clock. When it runs down, your treatment finishes. But with a nosebleed, it doesn't work like that. They can start anywhere and they can last as long as they last. They'll do everything they can to try and stem it. Looks to have slowed down a touch.
Yeah, don't let go.
Yes. Not ideal for playing tennis, but right now, well, you feel for both. Beth Gray is having a great start from Gray. She just dropped the 1 point through the 2 games. She had come out the blocks like she knew she would have to against Appleton. And now she's having to stop herself from getting cold, having just warmed up and taking a seat now, having a word with boyfriend Ed. And for Emily Appleton, there's the distraction of the nosebleed. And is she going to be conscious and aware that it might restart when she's playing?
Especially if she's serving too.
Oh, yes. Beth Gray just has to try and stay in the place that she was because she's been playing some wonderful tennis. She's got a favourite quote, Beth Gray. It is, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." And she has it engraved in a bracelet that she wears every day.
Really? Do you know who said that originally?
Well, we were doing a little bit of research and quite a lot of people. So it was, so we were trying to pin it down to its origin, but there's 2 or 3 very famous individuals have uttered that quote.
That's really nice that she has it engraved. She probably looks at it quite regularly during a tennis match.
Do you remember before a break for a nosebleed in a tennis match?
No, I was just trying to recall one.
I guess, and again, I just reiterate, you can't time it.
No.
You can't say, right, you've had your medical timeout, off we go, because it doesn't work like that. But important for both players, but for Beth Gray to stay warm. I know she's wrapped up head to toe. I mean, it's like a sort of scuba suit almost, and keeping herself warm. And Jenny in the commentary boxes, I don't know how many layers you've got on, but there's quite a few there.
I don't have the beanie on today, though.
No, I haven't seen that yet in the commentary box. I nearly put my gloves on at the end of the last match, but I couldn't bring myself to commentate with gloves on.
I did on day 1, I have to
Did you?
say. It is chilly inside. And obviously we're not running around a tennis court.
Yeah, that is the thing, but you don't want these players to get cold. Now, chair umpire having a word with Beth Gray, we're probably saying, well, you know, it's a tricky one. I can't tell her to get on with things if her nose is still bleeding. There's nothing we can actively do to stop it. We can just try and slow it down and hope that it comes to a stop all by itself. The final of week 1 of the UK Pro League. Remember, 8 weeks in total. They are playing today for 18 points. So 18 points on the leaderboard. Winners check £3,750 plus the £500 appearance fee. Second place will be 15 points and a cheque for £3,000 plus that 500. So they're playing for a lot, and as the players have told us, I think, man to woman, they have told us this will help fund their careers, get them back on the road while taking part in the UK Pro League. It will enable them to get on with their career. And it looks like we're going to be getting on the match. It's just over 7 minutes since the last game, but we believe that the nose is fine. And it'll be Appleton to serve. So a 7-minute break for the nosebleed. Not ideal for Appleton, but she'll have to reset, refocus, and serve 1-2 down. This is the task now for Gray to pick up from where she left off, and for Appleton to be able to focus and not be worrying about her nose.
Absolutely, both of their minds will have gone elsewhere. But they just have to focus on bringing it back to this women's final.
from Appleton.
Sneaked a winner. She's quite happy changing the direction, loves to drill the ball down the line off both wings. That often catches her opponent by surprise.
Saying that Emily Appleton's coach David Collins writes something down after each point, each game. I was just thinking, possible 9 weeks she could be playing. That's a lot of notebooks.
I wonder if he keeps them.
Wow, need a room for them, just for the UK Pro League.
That's dedication.
That's a lot of notes. Still young though, Appleton at 21. Again, the hustle from Gray was good, but in the end, Appleton able to finish it off.
Going back to the note-taking, I remember when on the road when we were young, Judy Murray making us, well, saying whoever was watching to chart the matches, you had to go up if they won the point, down, you had to note if it was a double fault, what it was, and then you fed back to each other at the end of it.
So you were feeding back to your peers,
Yeah.
giving them criticism?
No, positive criticism. It was
Positive criticism. Okay.
We were basically saying this was the ebbs and flows of the match, and this is where you peak, this is where you maybe lost a bit of momentum, and why. So you kind of, so it always went up if you won a point, and down if you went down a point, if you lost a point. Oh. Do you want me to start a chart right now and I'll show you?
For my performance or for the players? Like a lie detector, it's sort of going up and down. That's a good idea for young players, isn't it?
Well, it meant that when you were away on a trip, you were abroad, it meant that every player was occupied. There was always one playing, there was one watching, and you were helping each other figure out what you did well, what you needed to improve, and also just be aware of what's going on. So it was a real team performance. We certainly travelled in that way, which we enjoyed a lot.
Well, we hear Ash Barty talking about we. It's not. It's very much about the team and everyone's playing their part. So it's nice to learn that and have that sort of instilled in you when you're young.
Absolutely.
Emily Appleton calls her team Team Apples. That's a great game for Appleton to come through when you think there was a 7-minute break and the nosebleed. You could see her still sniffing away. She's obviously very conscious and very aware of it. So a really good hold for Appleton.
Absolutely. An important hold too, because if she was broken there, it would have given Beth Gray a bit of control in this opening set. She'll be very aware of their last result a couple of days ago, but bear in mind that was in a round robin stage of this competition. This is a very different match. It is of course the final, and previous encounters don't really have any bearing right now. It's all about the present match.
Beth Gray is the British number 20. World ranking of 641, has been as high as 426. Both these players in the top 25 of the British women's rankings.
And some big hitting from both players there, but on that last ball, Appleton just took a big step to that forehand. Didn't quite get the little steps in there. Slightly out of position and just sent the ball long.
Speaks to a sports psychologist twice a week, Emily Appleton. She recognises that's a very important side of the game, making sure that is in a good place. Couple of enormous backhands from Appleton.
She can generate so much pace. Such a big hitting player. And going back to the sports psychologist thing, it's super interesting. It's what more and more players are doing now, not because something's necessarily wrong, but it should be a part of your team anyway. There's so much that every tennis player has to face. Of Iga Swiatek, Roland Garros champion. She asked her dad if she could see a sports psychologist just because she wanted to have that in her game. She wanted to have an advantage, not because something was wrong, and look how that has worked for her.
Yeah, first tour title. Roland Garros. Has to face a break point. First break point of this final between Beth Gray and Emily Appleton. Faced each other in the round robin stage, and here they are in the final match of the women's competition this week.
Oh, we've seen some big backhands in this game from Appleton. That one just misfiring ever so slightly. Just went a bit too hard. It needed to play with just a wee bit more margin for error. What a shot from Appleton here. Net cord working in her favour. But didn't try and overhit that one. Learned from the previous.
Backhand certainly firing today for Appleton. Second break point opportunity of this final. Snuffed out.
What a response. It's not her typical serve from the lefty side. Likes to go out wide normally, but lovely change up from Gray there under pressure.
Advantage grey. Deuce.
The intensity is just ramped up. Bear in mind, there was the 7-minute break for the nosebleed. Both ladies have refocused very quickly.
It's the backhand again. He's doing the damage.
Advantage Appleton.
A third opportunity for Appleton to get the break.
She hits this ball so cleanly. It stays so low. Her weight is so evenly spread. Wonderful shot.
Deuce.
Big thing that Gray has spent time working on is the fitness. She said it's such an important part of my game and how I play, that's how she got productive during lockdown, working with a couple of physical trainers to make sure she's in the best shape possible.
Advantage Appleton.
Just takes the ball so early inside the baseline on the return of serve. Picks her spot. Get this, right in the hitting zone, shoulder height.
Deuce.
Feeding the backhand of
Advantage
Appleton.
Appleton.
Dangerous thing to do.
Dangerous indeed. Especially when she's been hitting so many winners off it, not just hitting with pace off it. It's been the dominant side.
And there it is,
Game,
the fifth
Appleton.
time of asking. It is Emily Appleton who gets the break and leads Beth Gray in this
Appleton
final
leads 3 games
by
to
3
2.
games to 2. Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis
Time.
Centre as Emily Appleton just put some ice on the nose. If you're just joining us, it's because at the end of game 3 she suffered a nosebleed. We had a 7-minute break while the nose sorted itself out, so just a little bit of ice to keep things at bay. Appleton would then recompose herself, go on and get the break and just have the edge in this final, leading by 3 games to 2. I've never had a nosebleed.
Never.
Ever.
Really?
Don't think so. No.
I used to have a terrible time with them when I was younger.
Really?
Been in the wars, me.
Sounds a little bit like it.
Let. First service.
Oof.
15 love.
Beast of a serve down the tee.
She does hit a lot of aces, Appleton, in last year's Pro Series. Had a game of them.
It must be the best feeling.
Yeah, I know. Must be a bit nervy on the 4th, though.
$30 love.
2 down. Although we are week 1. There's still time.
Looking to get that consolidation in the first set of this final. Points and prize money at stake.
The questioning, Nicole. I saw it in. 40 love.
Ooh, she's given it. She's on for it. 3 points, 3 aces. Game points, 3-2. There it
Again,
is.
Appleton.
It's a game of aces.
Appleton leads.
And it
4
equals a
games to 2.
consolidation for Emily Appleton. 4-2 she leads in this first set.
On my charting, Gigi, she'd be almost off the paper with that.
And yours as well, having brought that up and then it happens.
Good performance, all right.
$15 love.
Beth Gray's going to have a go now.
There's something in the water. Some great serving going on right now.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Excellent point.
30 love.
And Gray didn't panic at all when under pressure there. It was Appleton who was in control of the rally when she approached the net, but this was some fantastic play. Really controlled by Gray. Look how quick she is up to the ball as well. Showcasing the hard work she's done on her fitness.
$40 love.
Backhand
14,
continues to work its magic.
can even hear it, particularly because we're indoors. How hard Appleton is striking those balls. She just gets so much easy power. She's a really relaxed player. Swings right through the ball.
Let first serve. Forty 30. Deuce. Advantage, great. Let for service. Deuce.
This is good pressure from Appleton.
She's very aware of the scoreboard right now and what a difference it would mean to her in this first set if she were to break here.
Advantage, great.
Disappointed with that one though. It's a chance. Second serve. Leading 4-2 Deuce.
Game, Gray.
Important goes that saying for Beth Gray.
Appleton
Keeps
leads
it to
4
just the
games
one
to
breaker
3.
serve. Appleton leading this final by 4 games to 3. The first of our 2 finals this afternoon as more ice is applied to the Appleton nose to keep the nosebleed at bay. This will be followed by Josh Paris against Billy Harris, a 4th meeting between that pair, But for now, it's just the one breaker serve here. A very important hold in the previous game for Beth Graves, under a little bit of pressure, but she's come through.
It's been a pretty tight opening first set. Appleton has a slight upper hand with the break of serve, and the previous service game serving 4 aces in a row, may I add. Not an easy task.
Love.
Just keeping it going. It's now 5. It's such a weapon, that serve of Appleton's. When she's firing, it's very difficult. That was clever. Took Appleton so far wide now to court.
Yeah, that's that tricky lefty forehand. This is the shot that really caused the trouble. So much whip pulls Appleton so far wide and flattens that down the line one out. Hugs that baseline as well. Put so much pressure on her.
$15.30.
Unintentional, but it did the trick.
30 all.
It was a tough overhead. And Appleton moving forward to the net once again. Gray causing her a bit of trouble with passing shots. That was a great first passing shot from Gray. Hustling both of these women. Oh. Almost.
$40.30.
Yeah, she won't be happy with that, Gray. Just pushing it long.
It was the right play. Try and keep away from the Appleton backhand. Just didn't quite control it into the court.
Let. First serve. Deuce. Advantage Appleton.
A little come on there from Appleton too. Just very aware of how important this game is.
Deuce.
Understandably,
Advantage
Fiscal,
Appleton.
that was an exceptional play to bring up the point, to gain point.
Really showed her composure here, having just thrown in a double fault. Went back to basics, didn't try and overhit that forehand. Just made sure she hit an accurate first serve.
Game Appleton.
There's the hold that she was looking for, so a game away
Appleton
now.
leads 5-3.
Emily Appleton from the first set in this final of week 1 of the UK Pro League. The winner will walk away with 18 points. They'll be top of the leaderboard because this is week 1. The top 9 at the end of 8 weeks will go through to finals week, and there'll be 3 wild cards added to that.
I'm sure it'll be an exciting week. Build up over the year as well.
Yeah.
Whereas last year was 6 condensed weeks. Billy Harris, of course, playing every single day of those.
Sounds like he's going to be doing the same again.
Loves the Pro League, does Billy? We love him.
Love
That all
15.
important first point going against the serve, with Gray serving to stay in the first set. Can set the tone for how a game's going to go the first point. It's advantage Appleton in that sense.
All.
It was good depth from Gray there. Just pushing Appleton pretty far back behind the baseline. That's how good it's got to be against her when you hit to that wing. Otherwise, she's likely to step in and change direction down the line.
She's called it long. Yeah.
That's a double fault for Gray. The call coming from Appleton, calling their own lines.
15-30.
Now 2 points away from the first set, Emily Appleton, who has not lost a match all week in just the one set in the semi-final. Oof. That's how you answer a double fault.
30 all.
Third ace for Beth Gray. Appleton with 5. And a pretty solid serving performance so far from both players.
$40-30.
A couple of great points from Gray. 15-30 down, comes up with an ace, then booming first serve, and cool as you like under pressure there in that drive volley. does love to take the ball out the air.
Game. Great.
So Emily Appleton very
Appleton
shortly
leads
is
5
going to have
games
the
to 4.
opportunity to close out this set. And Beth Gray has done what she can do up until this point, and that is hold her serve. And now we'll see how Emily Appleton reacts under her first little bit of pressure when asked to serve out for the set.
And she's held serve pretty easily so far in this match. Certainly that game of aces helped her. First serve percentage, 71% right now. And it was interesting, that's what David Collins said about her semi-final match. She just said the first serve percentage was around early 50% or so. That's what let her down, and as soon as her serve isn't firing, she loses a bit of confidence in her game. Has to work so much harder in order to hold serve. But certainly when she's getting buckets of first serves in, just makes it a lot easier.
Emily Appleton with a very cold nose takes the bag of ice off. Nosebleed has been held at bay since the end of the third game. And now Emily Appleton with a chance to serve out for the first set of this final.
Love.
I got a little round of applause from Coach David Collins on the sidelines.
It's a really fluid service motion.
3 points from the set.
Love.
2 needed. The break coming in the 5th game of this first set.
Let first service.
Appleton hasn't faced a break point on her serve to this point.
$30-50.
Went for the second service.
$40-50.
That time it was an ace, and with it brings up set points for the 21-year-old, world number 693.
Let first serve.
And there's the set.
First set, Appleton. 6
Took it on her
4.
very first set point, and it's Emily Appleton, a set away from the win, leading, taking it 6 games to 4. Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre. It's the first of our 2 finals, and it's Emily Appleton who's been in such fantastic form through the week that Jenny Drummond was able to close out that first set against Beth Gray by 6 games to 4.
Yeah, it was a really impressive performance once again so far from Emily Appleton. The serve just dominating proceedings, and the backhand wing as well. That really troubled Beth Gray because Appleton was able to change direction many occasions. Number of winners up the line.
Time.
Mixed in with the number of aces. We're a boyfriend down. Oh, back.
He's back.
He's
Can
back.
settle.
Heads back in place.
But I have to say, Beth Gray didn't do too much wrong, and this is something she said all week. She's been impressed with how hard she's dug in, her competitiveness. And
Second
she
set.
really is a fighter. She will do everything she can to find a
Great
way
serve.
to take this second set and send it into a championship tiebreak.
Oh yeah, here is a test of that fight for Gray.
Love 15. All.
So it's her career highlight. Beth Gray was making the WTA main draw debut in the doubles at the 2019 Dubai Championships, going through to the quarterfinals. Would have been a great experience.
And she partnered Eden Silva. It's a big tournament.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, stunning pass by Gray.
30-15.
Appleton does like to ghost into the net, and it's the right ball to do it on, but approaching cross court is always dangerous. If you do, it has to be so good. But lovely ball strike from Gray there.
Oh, absolute peach from Appleton.
30 all.
When the ball is in her striking zone, my goodness, doesn't she tee off? It's that ball there that set up the point. But she hits that one so early, even for an athlete like Gray. She's got no chance to get there.
Forty, 30. Game, Gray,
She
new
got
ball.
lucky going back in
First
to
game, second set.
Appleton. But she does hold her first service game of the second set of the final at the end of week 1. It's been a fantastic week in terms of the calibre of matches that we've seen.
It really has. We've enjoyed a lot of competitive matches, and As we're in the final now, here are the numbers of that opening set. Look at the first serve points won. The difference there, just key for Appleton. Her serving performance really does tell a story of how her match unfolds. Other than that, there hasn't been a lot in it. Just Gray hasn't been able to create a breakpoint opportunity for herself.
That's what most players have found very hard to do against Appleton this week, even put themselves in a position where they have a breakpoint opportunity. So work for Beth Gray to do, but you talked about her fighting quality. I think when you're one of 7, you have to have a bit of fight because to make yourself heard.
3 brothers, 3 sisters.
That's incredible, isn't it? Is it
Couple-
3 older sisters, 3 younger brothers?
And a couple of girls played tennis as well, I remember. The Askew sisters.
Wow.
It's a lot of siblings.
That's a lot of siblings.
Some hectic dinners.
Imagine Christmas.
Imagine breakfast.
Oof. I think any meal. But Gray carving out her own identity. Yeah,
15
great
love.
weight of shot from Appleton. As you say, taking it so early.
She's got great anticipation as well. Moves to the ball so early. At this point, Gray needs to find a way to move her off the baseline because she's set up camp there, that's for sure.
Love.
Well, Gray was in control of this point. Just didn't quite do enough with that approach shot. And Appleton is so strong, keeps the head down. Just has to drill it down the line.
Thirty, 15.
Appleton gave Gray a bit of a lifeline there. Did everything right, but just let her back in with a slight miss hit on the drive volley. And credit to Gray, she took advantage of it because she's not getting that many opportunities.
Forty, 15.
She's got to work so hard for a point right now, just Gray.
Yeah, she can't afford to drop anything short. She's being moved everywhere, but still it comes back.
Game,
There's
Appleton.
nothing you can do about a serve like that. Too good.
1 game
On
all.
to 15. Remember, this is her first tournament of 2021. Quarter-final in Estonia in November last year for Appleton. search for balls. As David Collins continues to make notes. I think he's using a pen from the hotel. I recognise hotel pen. You sign in, they just pocket the pen.
Just like the towel situation.
Uh-huh. Perfect 1-2 punch with the
15 love.
lefty serve out wide. I think in COVID times, with the pens, they encourage you to take it because you've used it. So I said, what shall I do with it? And she said, oh, keep it.
You actually offered to give it back?
I was like, it's not mine. It's my own. Where would you like it? Keep it. Fine. It's too long from Gray.
The intensity of the rallies really has ramped up. Beginning of this second set. Ball striking has been top notch in the last 10 minutes or so.
$30-15.
Players will have that time to rest and recover now, and then hopefully they'll all be back for week 2. And Tom Tuesmith asking if Marcus will be back for week 2. What a point from Appleton, turning defence into attack.
30 all.
And that's how Gray feels currently. Current mood.
That is some defensive effort. No wonder there was a huge fist pump at the end of it. Gray was well in control of that point. Somehow Appleton found a way using that forehand slice in the middle of it. Great change up. That was an interesting tactic
14,
there.
13.
Appleton changing it up by nailing it down the middle, not giving Gray any angles, but Gray just replying with the same type of shot. And in turn, Appleton couldn't quite get out of the way of the ball, got a little bit jammed up, and unable to create her own angle. It was smart play from Gray.
Game, Gray. Gray leads 2
There
games
were important
to 1.
holes for Gray right now, but she does come through. A set down, but it's Gray on serve in the second set of this final, 2-1. It's the end of week 1 of the UK Pro League, the final, the first of our finals. Josh Paris against Billy Harris to come. But here it's Appleton against Gray. Gray fighting as we knew she would. Went down 6-4, 6-love to Appleton on day 4 of the group stage, both coming from box B. It's the one-breaker serve in that first set in game 5. We had the nosebleed 3 games in.
Game of aces.
We had a game of aces, yes. Anything else? Boyfriend
15
left the
love.
court, came back.
A lot of note taking.
A lot of note taking. And some great hitting.
Some absolutely fantastic hitting.
All.
I love the body language from Gray. She is so positive with herself all the time. After that shot, little fist pump. Lovely backhand strike. Really goes after every single point. A bit of a wild second serve there from Appleton. Bold move to go for the ace. And a wee opportunity for Gray. Hasn't had many on the Appleton serve, not had a break point yet.
And here is that opportunity. There are a couple of them for Beth Gray. First break points, as Jenny said, of this final for Gray. Just wide, you heard from the chair.
30-40.
Perfectly placed to see that line.
Deuce.
Gray just getting caught there. Felt the ball didn't quite skid through as if it were going to, and those 2 opportunities have gone astray.
They've been hard to come by.
Advantage Appleton. big game, Appleton.
Couple of big serves, couple of big points, and we're looking at 2 games all.
I'm impressed with the response from Appleton when facing a couple of break points. Really kept their composure. And big serves just pivotal in the Appleton game. And now immediately puts the pressure right back on Gray. Gray asked a couple of questions there. Appleton certainly answered them.
Love 15. Love 30.
How often do we see this? A player has opportunities, doesn't take advantage of those opportunities, and suddenly find themselves down on their own serve in the next game.
Let. First serve.
A couple of close balls in that rally. Appleton missing the more routine forehand.
That's incredible hitting from Appleton.
40.
A depth, a weight of shot.
Yeah, Gray had to go a bit Kerber-esque with that last forehand. The way her knees on the floor and she hit it.
Break points.
$30, 14.
It really is multitasking, isn't it? Stretching for the shot, watching the line, saying out.
It's a lot to do.
Deuce.
I think Appleton just getting a bit eager there. A bit over-eager. Knowing what the score is, thinking, oh, well, you know, I could be a set and a break here. Just let Gray back into this game.
Advantage, Appleton.
She read it, Gray, initially. She headed into the right corner, but drifted long, and it's another opportunity, a third one of this game for Appleton to break. That's good play.
Deuce.
Really gutsy from Gray. Went for the wide serve. Set up the point, but happy to move and going back behind her.
Advantage Appleton.
Not the time for your third double fault.
Not up.
Drop shot off a drop
Game
shot
Appleton.
from Appleton. And she makes the breakthrough.
Appleton leads 3 games to 2.
Has the break, 3-2 second set. And in this final, she leads by a set to love.
Time.
Emily Appleton has made the breakthrough, so even more work for that lady in your picture there, Beth Gray, to do, the 25-year-old. Slightly higher ranked to the two at 641 Gray to the 693 of Appleton, but it's Appleton who's been so clean through this week, didn't drop a set Monday to Friday. The first set of her semi-final she did drop to Freya Christie. So there's been a couple of break points against her serve to this point in this final. And now she's got the break to lead by a set and a break.
She's been really composed so far today. Was tested massively in her semi-final yesterday, dropping the opening set after leading 3-love.
Love.
It's just been the story of the match so far. I think Gray knew that coming into this, but credit to Appleton. 71% of her serves.
And she was serving up at 80%, wasn't she, in the first set? Keeping really good numbers on that serve, which she needs to do.
Love.
And Appleton showcasing that her net game is as strong as her ground strokes and serve right now. Hugging the net well. Routine overhead for her to finish off the point. Lovely footwork.
Thirty, 15. I'm not 100% sure, but she's called it.
Great response to
40,
Appleton. He thought the
15.
initial serve was good. It was called out by her opponent. But again, just her movement around the court, coming forward, the net play, the touches to finish things off. Just showcasing, as you said, everything.
She's so sure of her game plan. Executing it so well right now, and that massive come on there. Sending a message to Gray. And showing us how in control of this match she is.
Game, Appleton.
That time it is an ace. It's out wide, and it's a consolidation
leads
of
4
the break.
games
So
to 2.
Appleton 2 games away from the win in this final at the end of week 1 of the UK Pro League. And she's been the player to beat all week.
She has. That was an 8th ace of the match, and that's 2 games. It's a big advantage to be able to get that many cheap points just on your serve.
Looking to make it 7 wins from 7 matches in 7 days.
Some good numbers.
Good numbers.
Love.
You gotta admire Gray. Her tenacity, her commitment and effort on every single ball. And even after that, big come on to herself. Doesn't matter what the scoreboard says, she's in it to win it.
All.
Oh.
15-30.
I'm sure David Collins' heart was in his mouth there.
That was a wonderful return of serve to take. Beth Gray off balance, but
She looked cool as a cucumber, to
Yeah.
be fair.
and that's the main thing from her point of view. Oh, didn't get it.
15-14.
She did get it. It's great play from Appleton.
From all parts of the court. You see how early she took that ball when she was meant to be pushed back. Turned the point around. Great counter punching.
Game, Appleton.
It's just too good from Emily Appleton right now.
Appleton leads 5 games
And
to
that
2.
double break means that Emily Appleton is a game away from the title in the final. Emily Appleton, the
Time.
ice back on the nose, a game away now, and the ball's on her racket from being crowned champion of week 1 of the UK Pro League with an exemplary record.
It's been an incredible week from Appleton so far, dropping just 1 set, and that was yesterday in her semi-final match. You mentioned 2 words in the last game, Gigi, too good, and that's kind of what she's been in every single match.
Very composed, even through the nosebleed situation, a 7-minute break, but she stayed very composed through that. Appleton serving for the win.
Let. First serve. Love 15. $15 all. Let. First serve. $30-15.
She's got to try and take on the second serve. That's how good it's got to be against Appleton.
$40-15.
And no match points for the pretty much the perfect week for Emily Appleton from start to finish. Match points.
$40-30.
Going for glory.
Emily Hamilton is your UK Pro League Week 1 champion, and what a week it has been for the 21-year-old. Just one set dropped through 7 matches, 7 wins. She takes away 18 points. A cheque for £3,750. She leads the leaderboard after the first week. She is your champion on week 1, and what a week it's been.
It's been incredibly impressive from Appleton. I just started scribbling down a few of the good aspects of her game, and literally I've covered them all. The serving performance from her was unbelievable. Her backhand down the line as well caused so much damage in the grey game. And her net play too. She came forward on a number of occasions and was really effective on them. Credit to Gray, she put in such an effort, not just in this match, but all week 2. Just couldn't quite get an opportunity or convert an opportunity against Emily Appleton, who really has just been outstanding all week. And credit to her, she has played some unbelievable tennis and should be really proud of the effort she put in over the last 7 days.
Absolutely. Lots for both to be proud about. What a week it's been for Beth Gray. Some of the tennis that she's been playing, but it will be Emily Appleton who overcame a nosebleed early stages of this final. It didn't distract her, it didn't knock her off her path, her course. She was able to stand firm. The serve, such a weapon from Appleton.
Yeah, whenever she was under pressure, she only faced 2 break points in that match, but came up with a couple of big serves on those occasions. And of course the game of aces that we mentioned too, just critical in how dominant a performance that was.
Your UK Pro League Week 1 champion, Emily Appleton, is now speaking to Marcus.
Well, Emily, many, many congratulations. The perfect end to a week of dominance. But how tough did Beth make for today?
Beth played really well today. She definitely made me work for it. I thought even the match we played on Thursday was really tough. So, yeah, just happy to come through today. But I thought Beth played really well.
I don't know if it's because your game is hitting new heights, but you had the nosebleed. How much of a distraction and a concern was that for you?
Yeah, it was a bit annoying actually. It actually happened, we played last summer and it happened, the same thing happened at the exact same score, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, it did disrupt me a little bit. I think I went down in my service game the next game. But yeah, just tried to fight for every point and get the rhythm back.
Yeah, well, you've certainly got the rhythm. You've played 7, you've won 7 this week. What aspects of your game have particularly pleased you?
I thought I served really well this week, and I also thought I was just hitting the ball pretty strong off the ground. So I built confidence during the week, and yeah, it paid off for the final today. Your
coach is over your shoulder. Do you want to say a little word to him?
Yeah. Thanks, coach, for being with me all week. I know it's been a long week, not much to do once the matches are done. So yeah, just very thankful that he's been here with me for all 7 days.
And will you allow yourself a little celebration this evening?
We'll see. I've got a 2-hour drive home, so I think might be quite late by the time I get home.
Well, you certainly deserve to celebrate. And of course, you've picked up 18 points by winning a cheque for more than £4,000 for prize and appearance money. So has that whetted your appetite to make a real impression in the UK Pro League this year? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the end goal for everyone playing this tournament is to get to the last week. And so by winning the tournament this week, I've done well. It's the best you could have done. So yeah, just on to the next one now. And just a final point, of course you've got to fight each other when you're on court, but I've sensed a real camaraderie. I know you're very close to each other as players. Everybody has to bond together. So how much fun is it in that regard, particularly after all the dark days that everybody in the world's had to endure? I think everyone's just so grateful to be back playing. You know, we don't have many opportunities to go abroad at the moment, so everyone's just really enjoying being back. And I think this tournament brings a nice vibe. Like, there's not much nastiness, like, or bitchiness or whatever. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm very glad to hear that. Congratulations. The silverware is yours. You're our champion for 2021. Emily wins week 1. Of course, week 2 is just around the corner. It starts a week tomorrow here at Loughborough University, and it all heads towards the finals week in early November. Points are at a premium because the top 9 will qualify for finals week along with 3 wild cards. And obviously, Emily's made the perfect start, having not lost a match yet. Let's bring in Gigi, who is back in everybody's good books, apart from Beth perhaps, because you tipped Emily to win, but she had to work very hard. Obviously she'd beaten Beth in the group stage. They knew each other's game, and we were kept guessing for quite a long time, weren't we? Yeah, we were. It was a fantastic contest. It was a hard-hitting contest, but Emily Appleton has been so steady
all week. She just dropped the one set, 7 wins from 7, just had the 2 break points on her serve today. And that nosebleed 3 games in did not knock her off her stride. We had a 7-minute delay between game 3 and game 4, but she stayed composed. And the serve is such a weapon from Appleton. It was firing today. She was winning over 80% of points with the first serve. It was a very clean performance, but a very tenacious performance from Beth Gray, who's played some fantastic tennis through this week. But Appleton just proved too good in the final today.
Yeah, well, she's only 21 years of age. She's made rapid progress over the past couple of years. She, of course, has been frustrated, like everybody else, that she hasn't had more opportunities maybe to go abroad and play. But certainly, she's laid down a marker for everybody else in this UK Pro League, hasn't she?
She certainly has, as the screams come as the screams come from court too. No, she has done, because she has played so well. And we were talking in commentary about just before the final how she was relaxing and laughing with her coach, David Collins. She's taken such a relaxed approach, but at the same time so appreciative of the opportunity that she has been given to play. Look, 7 wins, 7 matches, 7 days, and we have another 7 weeks before finals week in November.
Yes, it's survival of the fittest, but it's fantastic entertainment as well. We're not finished yet, because after the break we move from the women's singles final to the men's version.